So good morning everyone, welcome to our workshop, Automatic Bug Reporting for Dummies. My name is Martin Kutlak, this is Suchy, and we will guide you through this workshop together. If you would have a problem or a question, just raise your hand and Mirek will try to help you with it. And before we jump in, I would like to ask you, how many of you know what's ABRT or ever? Okay, nice, thank you. Free hands.
Not everyone.
So, at first, I will tell you something about the ABRT and the components on the ABRT, and after this theory, I will try to show you some commands that you might not be aware of in ABRT and what can you do. And later we will try to create an event, a custom event that can help you collect some information for your applications. So yeah, before we start, you will need these three packages. You should install them before the workshop. I will use some of them. The will crash is our testing package that has some commands that you can create core dumps or Python exceptions in Java exceptions. Yeah, I can show you. So if you have the package installed, the will crash, you can just do will, and there's like several different commands that you can try. For example, I can try the will segfault, which will create a core dump. Yeah. And let's start with the ABRT stack. The ABRT consists of two components. One of them is client applications, and other one is services. The client application is usually run on your laptop or server or somewhere. And the ABRT or the client application consists of the ABRT. If you have a desktop, you probably have GNOME ABRT, and also ABRT uses two libraries. One of them is libreport and other one is Satyr. The services that ABRT provides is the ABRT Analytics server, which was formerly known as a FAF, but we decided to remove it to group together the branding, and also the retrace server. I will talk about the ABRT Analytics and the retrace server, and also about the ABRT GNOME ABRT later. So first, let's start with the ABRT. You probably know this logo. You might have saw some notification if something crashed on your system. And the ABRT provides some command line interface for the ABRT. You can try it. Well, we can try it later. And also ABRT provides some daemons. Those usually run in background and try to catch the problems that happen on your system, and also the stack traces. You can install some add-ons for languages and different runtime errors. ABRT can catch Python, C, C++, Java, Ruby, or kernel oops problems. ABRT also provides some data processing components, and also the ABRT is integrated in the cockpit. If you have cockpit on your system, or if you don't, you can try to open the cockpit. If you don't know, it's on your local host. Usually the port is 9090. And if you go to the logs and choose service ABRT notification, you can see you can see some of the crashes that ABRT catched. And if you click one of the crashes, you'll get just the basic journal information, but there's a tab with the problem info, and that shows you what ABRT would normally show you with information about the crash. And there's also more detailed information where you can see, for example, the core backtrace from the core dump, or different another different files. And also there's you can report the problems from the cockpit. I've already reported the problem, so it shows me that the problem was reported, and there's actually a link to the problem. If I open it, which I already have, sorry. Yeah. And also, can you see from the back seats? Okay. Oh. Well, I think this is the problem actually. So when you report it, to ABRT sends something which we called micro reports, which is just basic information about the crash. It's usually it usually looks like this is the core backtrace from the problem, and it also has from which system it arrived, the architecture of the system that the crash happened, and also the versions which the package from which the crash came. And also you have, if you are a maintainer of the package that crashed or the component, you can associate the micro reports or the reports with the Bugzillas. I've already did that, and this is the Bugzilla. And if I scroll up, the ABRT adds the link back to the problem, and when you associate this bug and try to, or the ABRT catches the bug and you report it, it actually sends you back the information that the problem is already reported to Bugzilla.
I have one question.
Yes?
I saw in the interface that there, in problem details,
Yes?
there is one entry for C groups. How do you extract this information?
There is entry for what?
C group. There
C group.
below the limit. So I'm asking because of Fedora 31, there will be a switch from C groups version 1 to version 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to make sure that there's no regression happening. So is this something we extract from the process, or is it something hard-coded, some hard-coded analysis based on the C group C1 paths? Do you know that?
I actually don't know that right now.
I think we get it somehow from prods.
It looks like it's just a dump of the file in Prods
Yeah.
C group, so
Yeah, but I will make a note so we'll check how it works with C groups version 2, so we'll be prepared. Thank you for the note.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was the cockpit integration. So let's continue. We have the GNOME ABRT. The GNOME ABRT is the graphical interface for ABRT. You probably know it. You can see the crashes that ABRT reported and see the details just as in the cockpit. And you can report the problems to different platforms like Bugzilla. You can also send mails, or if you have CentOS, you can send the mails, the reports to Mantis, which is Bugzilla for CentOS.
You can actually try this right now. So if you run some will crash, so big segfault on GNOME or KDE, there should appear a pop-up button from a notification area, and if you click on that, it will get you to GNOME ABRT if you have it installed.
And that was the client part of the ABRT, and then we have the services that ABRT provides, and one of them is ABRT Analytics. I've talked about a little bit about the problems, but I will try to repeat it. So the ABRT creates micro reports and sends them. If you have ABRT auto reporting enabled, it sends them to ABRT Analytics. ABRT Analytics processes this micro report and creates what we called report. Later, ABRT Analytics from these reports try to group them together by similarity and creates problems. If you open this link, and I will show you some problem that I have already prepared, you can see this is already the problem that was created by ABRT Analytics. And if you scroll down, you can go to the different report tabs. And if I just quickly go through them, I can actually see that the only thing that's changing is the version of the Java. And there's also option to do a backtrace diff, and I can show you now, hopefully. So these 4 lines change. So ABRT Analytics try to group them together, so these problems are together. ABRT Analytics also provides you with the statistics of the incoming reports. You can see what's crashing in your application and basic overview of the component, what type of crashes you have. We have this retrace server on the Fedora project running, but you can also create your own instance. We have a Docker image available. If you run Docker pull ABRT and the FAF image, and also ABRT Postgres instance from us, you can set up the FAF and report the crashes to your instance and see what's happening on your system, and you don't have to send it to a retrace server. And let's continue. Then we have the retrace server. The retrace server provides the remote retracing of core dumps. Usually when something crashes and it creates a core dump, the core dump contains just pointers to memory, and it's not really human readable. And if you want to make it human readable, you have to download a lot of debug packages, and it's not just for your application, but also the dependencies. So you have like huge amount of data that you have to download and find. So the retrace server tries to solve this by allowing you sending the core dump to our server, which then processes this core dump and sends you back the backtrace that's in human readable format. So it should save you time. You don't have to look for these different packages, and also it should save you the storage or the space on your system, because these debug info packages are usually huge. And that was the theory part, and now we can continue with the workshop. If you have the ABRT installed, I can go to the terminal, and the first one that I would like to show you is the basic command. If you have the newest version of or the latest version of the ABRT, you can do just the ABRT, and it will list you the crashes that you have on your system. And this is just basic overview, what kind of crashes do you have, from which kind of components, and when these happened, and also the...
Can you make it slightly bigger?
I can. Is this enough?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So if you want to try it, you can run the ABRT. But also, if you want more detailed information, you can do ABRT list, and this will show you what or where did you send the reports, and also if the report was already reported, it will show you that it was sent to this, or it was if you report it to Bugzilla, it will show you the link to Bugzilla, and you will know that you already reported this problem. And ABRT should prevent you from already reporting the reported problems, and I will show you later. Another command is ABRT info, and if you type it just like that, the ABRT info, it will show you the detailed information about the latest crash, but you can also select the problem by the ID. So I can, for example, choose this one, and it will show me more detailed information. It's not all the information, but it adds the command line and some more information like the package that it came from. Then there is a command which you probably don't know about, and it's ABRT GDB. And if you again select the ID, which was this one, it will... Okay, this one is not... Oh, it's Java. So actually the latest one is GDB or core dump. It will start the GDB, and if you have debug info packages, it will already show you the human readable format. But if you don't have the debug info packages, you can execute ABRT debug info install, and this will try to install the debug info packages from the build IDs that ABRT collects from the core dump. And I already have the packages installed, so it also created the backtrace for me during this process. If you want to get the backtrace from the retrace server and you don't want to report it, you can execute ABRT retrace command. I've already have the backtrace, so it will tell me that I've already the backtrace created and ask me if I want to show it, which I don't want now. So I will force the retrace to execute, and it will ask me if I want to do the local retracing, which will try to download the debug info packages, or I can use the retrace server and send the command to core dump to retrace server. I can try it now. It will take some time. I've already have it somewhere. Yeah. So this is then the output of the command. It will send the core dump, then process it, and after a while it will generate the backtrace and send me back the human readable backtrace, and then you can use the ABRT report command that will start. Ooh, too many sessions opened. Well, live demo.
Okay, never seen this.
But you can try it on your system, hopefully. There's nothing broken in mine. And it should show you where you want to report it, and then asks you for Bugzilla ID, Bugzilla login and passwords, and you can report the problem to Bugzilla. Yeah, and if you don't want to, or if you have the debug info packages installed and you just want to see what crashed, you can run the ABRT GDB and then continue with the GDB directly, and you don't have to run the GDB and find the core dump. You can just do this and you have it ready for you to debug the crash. Yeah, that's information. And now we can try to create the event, the custom event. So if you want to try it with me, you can create a new file. You will need to be a privileged user. So, for example, if you create file flockevent.conf, which I already have, or should I? And I don't have it. And paste this. Well, I will have to type it. But first I can probably explain you what this does. The event, it's a word that ABRT tries to find in these files, and it then executes when this notify happens, and the notify happens when something crashes, and the ABRT shows you the notification. There is also possibility to create the event during the post-processing of the crash, but the notify is probably better. Then you can select something like component, or you have more options. You can actually choose also a package version or other different options. And the other options come from this problem directory. You can choose package name, for example, which will crash, or if you want to match package version, you can also do that. And it will try to match this version, but there's also opportunity for regular expressions, and it will go through the file and try to find the matches in that file. And then there's a second part of this, and that's the echo line. if you want to put something or create some kind of file that, or find some kind of information about your component, and we don't collect it, you can, for example, copy some log files or execute some kind of command that will create a new file, and it will create this file in the problem directory where the ABRT collects these crashes, and during the reporting it will add this file to the report. And I've already did this before, so when you send the bug report to the Bugzilla and select that you want to send the file that you've created, ABRT will include it in the report. And for example, this one that I've created before is the flock file, and it will show you the hello from flock in Budapest. So if you want to try it yourself, you can do it now, and if you will have a problem with it, I can try to assist you. The scripts should be written in Bash, and the first line, the event, should be there shouldn't be no space before that, but the following line, the echo, should be spaced or tabbed or just commented, and it will then execute these commands in order. Yeah, this is the different times when the events can happen. One of them is post create, then there's the notify, and the selecting the values is the first one is the key and wall. It will try to match it. Yes?
So you explained the mechanism, but what would be used for this?
Yes, I forgot to mention. So we collect just basic information, and you might, as a package maintainer, it might not be enough for you to debug the problem. So you can create this event and collect whatever information that you want from the crash, and it will help you to debug the problems. And
the issue is that you can have special hardware, let's say, so you can get some special information from kernel about a special hardware, or you want to integrate with your continuous integration. So the event can contain everything, so you can like notify your custom continuous integration system about this crash, or you can send SMS, ping on pager, whatever you need, you can be using those custom events.
So it's both for distribution packages and for local stuff.
Yeah. Okay. But by default, ABRT gather information about packaged about crashes in packaged software. And correct me if I'm wrong, Martin. When we are running in container, it's opposite. So we because in container is most of the software is not packaged, so we even send crashes from not packaged software. But you can customize it in ABRT config or libreable. So you can say whether you want to get crashes from non-packaged software as well, and then you can upload it to ABRT analytics or to your detection system of your own.
Any more questions, or is anyone trying to create their own event? Yes?
Output of the event will get saved.
When you do this, it will create the file, and it will create the file in the problem directory. You can see the problem directory if you execute ABRT info and this path. It will show you where the ABRT stored the problem details.
Can you go to the directory?
Yes, I will. And if I show the content, what the directory contains, you can see the information. And
So if you create your custom event, you will have there the file log event as well, and all those files are quite small, and they contain all those information, which by the way was very visible on that cockpit page. So for example, the C group contains all the information we get from the C groups command line component. So
yes, and here is the flock file. And these events run under a privileged user, so you should be careful what you do with the events.
Can you show your events directory?
Yes, if it
So maybe a quick comment on the path. You're putting distribution files in ETC. Please move them to user view. You know what I mean? Or
yeah, I know, and we are right now working on that, because actually right now we have config files on both locations. They are identical, so right now we are working on having the defaults in usery, and we will probably keep the config files in ITC as well, but they will be empty with the comment like this is override for the defaults user.
Yes.
So this means you support anything in the JVM? But let's say I have a Scala crash or
Mm-hmm.
is it supported as well?
I think yes, but I'm not sure. So
Are other distributions Fedora or CentOS using EBRT? So I think that Ubuntu has some kind of error reporting. Is it EBRT as well?
Can you repeat the question?
yes. So the question was if ABRT is in Ubuntu as well.
Or any other
Yeah.
distribution?
Well, right now the ABRT is only in the Fedora, CentOS, and the RHEL world, but there was we have an issue open that we want to support also the different platforms like Debian, Ubuntu, and SUSE.
Do you know what is currently used in this platform? Because Ubuntu has some kind of error reporting because when you have a crash on Ubuntu, it asks you if you want to report it.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. You know, it's another software. You know which one is it?
I actually don't know.
Actually, like, the reporting is one thing which is useful, but what I found most useful are the micro reports. I will show them in a moment. And for that, you have to run ABRT analytics service. So just having the package available there is one thing, but then you will have to run the service, which is other things. So we run the service for Fedora and Fedora infrastructure, but running it for Debian, OpenSUSE, and Andriva, that's beyond our scope. But definitely, we provide, as Martin mentioned, we provide the container for ABRT analytics. So it's very easy to deploy your own container and gather your own crashes. So if you are running your enterprise environment and you are operating bank or something like that, and you don't want to go your crashes outside your company, you can run your own ABRT analytics server and collect your crashes internally.
So
Can you elaborate more about those micro reports, how to enable them, and how they, and show some examples from analytics?
So there's a ABRT command called ABRT reporting, auto reporting. And if you execute it, it will tell you if you have it enabled or disabled. If you want to enable it, you just type 1 or 2 or enabled, and it should enable it. And this one, the ABRT auto reportings means that the micro reports will be sent to the location where you want to report them. By default, that's the retrace server.fedoraproject.org/fav. And what did you want to show?
Yeah. So it's enabled by default. So
Yeah.
Actually, everyone in Fedora, if they have some crash, it's automatically reported to ABRT analytics, Fedora infrastructure. And this is some examples. So the most interesting part is, even if you are a maintainer of some package in Fedora, and you think your package is working well because you are not receiving any bugzilla, it's worth checking ABRT Analytics server. You can get your from Fedora packages, and if you check like for the bash path, it will navigate you to the directly to the component of bash in path or ABRT Analytics.
But this is just for
This is you have Kutlak.
and also
This is so reset it, and even if you think you didn't have many bugzillas, you can see that there is a lot of crashes where your component is involved. For example, we have like nearly 10,000 crashes in function BGP clear and so on. So you can see how many times it occurs on which architectures, and in the statistic tab you can even create some fancy graphs, so it's even visible in which version this start happening and in which version it stop actually happening. So for example, for RHEL we are creating internal reports using ABRT, and we are suggesting developers that, hey, you have this bug open, this is associated with this information in ABRT Analytics, and it stopped happening, so you probably fix it a side effect of some other fix, so you can waive it as fixed because it's not happening anymore. So it can give you a really nice way how to solve some bugs really cheaply. Yeah, those are those graphs.
Can I just ask you, did I convince you to try and create some custom report for your application so ABRT can collect it and help you with debugging?
So I guess a more general comment. So in the like a few years ago, when I got aboard Bugzilla, I had a profile and logs, and now I get no profile and no logs, and I look at the bug reports, and they are not useful. There's nothing I can do just based on the backtrace that is there. Especially when it's a memory corruption. If I had a core file, I could often figure out what is going on. But just on the based on the backtrace, there's nothing I can do. So at some point I ask people, okay, can you give me the core files? And then people say, oh, we cannot give you core files, it's security sensitive. And then I write, oh no, it's okay, it's okay. This program contains no security sensitive information at all. You can give the core file. Maybe send it to me by mail. Then I get the core file, and then in the meantime 2 months has passed, and the core file is gone. So the usability of the reports has gone down, and it would be so nice to again have the logs in the Bugzillas, the core files. Maybe you could whitelist programs which contain no user information. And third thing is that the Bugzillas are often private because there's like key
option.
which is very annoying. It's also annoying for users because users cannot see the reports. And I have never in my life seen a report that had any sensitive information.
Yeah. Can you open and try to report some crash from GNOME ABRT? The problem is that there's two things against each other. Like, one is usability of those reports, where you need as much information as much possible, and on the other hand, there is a privacy of everybody involved, and especially if you are reporting something from your company, you probably don't want to leak anything suspicious at all. So we actually have whitelisted things which are sensitive, like Amazon credentials. So if there is in operating environment variables, something AWS underscore, we will wipe it away, so it doesn't leak, and we have quite long list of this whitelisted information we should not report. But when you try to report it, there is you have option to select, and you see what's going to be reported, including that private checkbox. So it's up to user to decide, is this report private? And if they check yes, then yes, they think it's a private. I'm not sure whether the right thing is like pop up several other dialog boxes like, do you really think it's private? Yes, but we don't think so. Yes, it is private. But yeah, it is private. So
But I would say if you find the right keyword, it's private by default. So
Yeah, I think
for some cases, like if you are going to report something, then it's the private checkbox is checked by default. So you would need to uncheck that. So I think it's just that users are uninformed and they just
okay, I'll make a note and check.
also you give this lots of text that is not really easy to read, and you ask users, do you want us to compromise your privacy? And users will be like, well, no, right? Because it's hard to say. I don't know, maybe so. For example, programs like systemd resolved. I mean, if the program crashes when it is resolving a domain name that is sensitive, like I don't know, pornhub.com, then it will be anyway visible in the backtrace anyway, and so your privacy might be compromised just by the backtrace. And apart from this, there's no keys, nothing sensitive ever. And I would like to say, just whitelist any crash from this service, because there is no privacy leak possible. I mean, except for some stuff which is leaked anyway. And this would always attach the profile and always never make the bug private. It will make things easier for user because they will not be asked questions which are hard to answer, and it will actually make it possible for me as a developer of the program to make use of the backtraces and the reports.
Okay, I will note it.
I mean, because programs which are run by users as part of their session, they often contain sensitive information, but system services, they should never, right? I mean, except for some select ones which deal with passwords.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I think we still sending core dumps to Bugzilla.
No, we don't.
You don't.
Because some of them can be huge and there's a limit in Bugzilla.
Okay.
Also, there are also no logs. I mean, why did the logs go away?
What logs do you mean?
There used to be like logs from varlog syslog before the journal from around the time of the crash, a few minutes, and this was often enough to say what was going on. And now there is.
Well, there was a problem that usually in the varlog there, or maybe it's that we have just basic we try to match the name of the package or the component that crashed and try to find it in the log, and it's I think 3 minutes back from the crash that happened, and during that time there usually weren't that many logs or useful logs, and
Right, but you can get very precise logs specific to the unit that the crash comes from. It should be possible to attach useful logs. I'm saying it's easy, but the usability of this has gone down.
Is there a functionality to attach logs from the journal?
yeah, actually DNF or if we create the event, and I can well,
One more. So for example, when watchdogs are enabled, services will crash because of watchdog timeouts, and 3 minutes or a minute and a half or something like that. And very often this is caused by general machine overload or disk problems. And if there are logs, and the logs, I see in the logs that the kernel is reporting I/O errors on a disk, and I get a abort a minute later, and I'll be like, okay, your hardware is busted, close the bar. And if there are no logs, I can ask politely, do you think that your machine is working correctly, and this is just not useful?
Can we first finish the previous one? So the previous one was
if you can attach logs from journal, right? And DNF sort of does this with this.
So you just need to manually generate this a log file using journals. Like ABRT being integrated with the journal, like automatically, like you asked, like automatically adding some part of journal. It's not an option. You need to generate it like via
again. So it's about if you collect all information from systems journal CTL, like all, you risk that people will refuse to actually send it and upload. So it's again privacy. So here we get just from the DNF information. So it's about configuration. So technically we are able to collect it. So it's just about settings. So if we come to conclusion that we want to all logs for past 2 hours, fine.
So I think that this highlights the issue. So this command can potentially return an insane amount of logs because there is no time limit or boot limit or anything like that. So maybe somebody has 100 gigabytes of logs, and this will run for 10 minutes, reporting all the reports from the service since forever, and asking the maintainers of individual packages to provide plugins for Obsolete to do basic log collection. It just feels to me like the wrong place to do it. I mean, this should be built in, must be built in, because otherwise, I mean, there's maybe 3,000 packages which or more which could use custom reporting, and if you ask maintainers of each package to write a plugin like this, this doesn't scale.
Okay, make a note.
Yeah,
That's
how's
for
not
definition.
speaking?
No, it's actually
great,
useful.
Great suggestion. I'm really glad that you're getting this feedback.
these heuristics detecting whether to flag a report as private. And this one is really overly sensitive, definitely, because it's catching some nonsenses usually. And then you really get 3 times asked whether you want to submit the report as non-private. And if you submit it as private as by default, then you cannot even see the bug in Bugzilla. So if it happens again, to again submit the bug, even though it's already existed. So
Yeah. Okay. We'll try to.
So this hook, it can collect logs or provide logs, or can I also use it like prohibit reporting certain issues? Because for example, it happens quite often that some Ruby code is using libFFI, and typically there are crashes in libFFI not because of the Ruby itself, but because the libFFI is not used properly. So it goes somewhere into some library and it does not initialize the memory properly and so on.
That's more question. This is still issue, and you still want to be reported, but you don't want to be assigned in analytics to Ruby.
Well, the problem is that typically it's like it's reported against Ruby, but Ruby is executing some code which is typically living in some user home, and the user is experimenting with such code and so on. So I would love to be able to avoid these reports at all, because it's like really, if I'm running my code and I'm doing mistake, why it should get reported into somewhere into Bugzilla, because really the bug itself exhibits in Ruby, so it's like rightfully reported against Ruby, but the issue is somewhere else.
You are getting such a situation you are describing this, Ruby seg faults, or you get even tracebacks.
Yeah, it might set fault because there is some invalid memory access or something like that.
Seg fault is always wrong.
Yeah, it's
No
wrong,
matter what
but
you are
it's wrong,
trying.
but it's like you are playing like you are not using, if you are using the libFFI via Ruby, you are not using the Ruby facilities anymore. You are
Yeah,
accessing.
that's Ruby FFI issues. Yeah, it should not land on
No,
your
no,
client.
that's not true. Because it's like once you start to use FFI, it's like if you are coding in C and you have access to all the memory and so on. So it's like it might be problem of some user script, but that should not be reported into Bugzilla.
Yeah, the same happens in Python. Somebody installs something from the internet, some bindings or C library, and calls it, and I get a report for Python.
Yeah, I'm saying that's problem. It should not be reported against Python. It should be reported against a binder. In this case, FFI.
No, it's a problem in the library that's being run. If somebody installs some software that has Python bindings, the software is wrong, but it's not packaged in Dora, and it crashes.
Yeah, but so if it is not
It
packaged in
should
Fedora and you are configured not to report crashes in
That's not true. We are using interpreter, which is actually you are like running a script which is run by Ruby, which is packaged in Fedora, but it's using some library which is third-party library, and it makes the Ruby crash. So yes, it
yeah,
crashed,
and
but
you are last in the backtrace. So we
Yes.
claim that it's your fault, but it's actually not correct. I'm aware of that. So I'm saying that it should be reported, but not to you.
But you can even run. It maybe should not be reported because the user runs his own script somewhere from somewhere from his home, which is the actual script which So I'm asking, like, they are really specific. The FFI is the most often report I get. So if I know that FFI is loaded, I would love to ignore the bugs entirely, because this is really using FFI is really dangerous if you don't know what you are doing actually. So
Can we do that, Martin? I'm not sure.
I think it's actually possible to exit the reporting if you match it against some string. You can quit the reporting, and it shouldn't be reported. The ABRT should stop the reporting process. But I've never tried it, so
so like it won't never appear in GNOME ABRT or something like that if it
no.
discovers. So it appears, but if user wants to report it, it feels with failure or something.
Yeah.
Okay, I will need to try that.
If you will come up with something, especially about that FFI, will be happy to merge it.
Actually,
default config. I know that FFI is shit.
I actually wonder how like if there is a way for Ruby and possibly for Python or other interpreters, how to detect that the code which is executed is from different library, because it always appears like yes, I'm running Ruby, but actually I'm not running Ruby. I'm running some other package or some code from other package.
It's hard. I'm not sure if there's good way to do it now.
I think that I should show. Or is there anything that I should show? Or?
Pedro, do you have some feedback from the Python board? Are you receiving ABRT bugs from us?
Well, not too much.
Okay.
We still some from time to time get something that should be like I said, it's
Mm-hmm.
otherwise it's fine.
Okay.
I personally get kernel crack reports that are not very good.
You never what? I don't hear it.
Kernel core crashes that cannot be reported because the database doesn't contain enough meaningful function frames.
Yeah, that's just somewhere you should send it to retrace. And if it doesn't have custom packages, then retrace server should create a.
I can't send it. Can't be reported.
Yeah, the kernel might not be reported for two reasons. Sometimes it happens like it says kernel is tainted, and you can't report it. And
Yeah, there's
sometimes
always one that cannot be reported because something, and then all the other ones are tainted for different reasons. It happens very often.
And yeah, if you have any issues or problems, you can send us an email or try to contact us on the IRC or just file a GitHub issue. And also we have a blog with some articles about the stuff we do, so you can check it out.
So I have a question.
Yes?
I was thinking about how I can integrate it in a package. Let's call it foo. And when will the report be triggered? Must it be a segfault, or can I configure it to also be triggered by specific exit codes? So let's assume foo has different exit codes, and I want to report all between 1 and 99. Starting from 100, those are just indicators for, I don't know, something is missing, so it's not really worth reporting, so the user has to figure it out, or networking is gone, yada yada. So is it possible to write a report based on exit codes?
I don't think that's possible, because we catch the crashes, or we try to catch the crashes from systemd journal, and
Because this would be really nice. So I'm thinking at the moment about, for instance, integrating it into Podman, right? Lots of the bacillas we receive we need to ask for a lot of additional information because the reports are missing information. And if users had a way to automatically send them and we aggregate the data, this would be cool. But those are not really segfaults, or segfaults are incredibly rare. But based on exit codes, there I would like to hook in and say, okay, now my tool, in this case Podman, exited with 10, which has a certain meaning. Then I know this is something fatal, and the user might not be able to analyze it.
So I think that's a great example to create some custom deal. So
but it won't be catched by EBRT,
like,
because
yeah, exit
the
codes,
the
but it's
first
not
issue
crash.
is the catching and then there is the reporting, and
Right, so we had to crash in order to
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, of course, generally crashing is worst thing. So
But that's not true. But you can create your own handler that's like Ruby handles and reports their issues. So if Podman had handler and could communicate with APRT directly, then you could send some or communicate with APRT and send some report. But it would have to be probably some additional code into Podman or something like that. It could not be external to Podman as far as I know.
Alright, so Podman had to send some notification.
Yeah, you need to communicate via socket or something like that with APRT. That's the way I'm using for Ruby plugin.
yeah, so it's a great idea. I will try to come with some how to do that.
This would be really awesome because many tools do this. There are exit codes above 100 which have just special semantics, so tools can easily wrap around it and understand what's going on. In this case of Podman, for instance, the image does not exist on a registry. This is nothing fatal. A user should be able to resolve it on their own. But if it's something that relates to the configuration of the host, maybe something really nasty like UID mappings, most users will not be able to see that or be able to resolve it. And this would be something where I would like to see a report, like how many Fedora machines do not have the right configuration for whatever reason. Corrupted container storage, for instance. Those are things that would be really, really nice to have. Not only so nice for us to fix the bug, but also to collect statistics if
Yeah.
users are willing to upload.
That's coincidentally goes together with other idea I have, like now we are pushing all those exceptions from system. Only those unhandled. I'm not sure if you are ever Sentry, but in Sentry you can like say include Sentry and provide some key, and then it's reported, and you get just crashes just from your application. So I'll say, okay, we have all the reporting on a place, services on place. So if you are not interested as administrator about all application about the whole stack, you can initiate the report from the application. So this is exactly what you are asking for. Say, okay, some exceptional situation happened, then I would like to get the report somewhere. Bugzilla, we have issue.
Yeah.
Or contribute to it.
Actually, is there a way to let some group seem to crash or something like I execute the command and it exits and might trigger some hook which could work the same
Not
way
yet.
as assuming.
Not yet, it's just an idea right now.
Yeah, like that's just trying to expand on
Yeah.
because at the
Looking
end
back,
mesh
yeah,
is
interesting
not really
idea.
different from Ruby, for example.
Okay, gosh.
Yeah. If it's configured, or if it's in the config, it must be to auto-generate the wrapper,
Mhm.
and then you just have to check the exit code.
Should just be careful not to send all exit codes. Like
Well, but
we will get a lot of report for the false one.
Well, the wrapper should be specific, it should be enabled for binaries of the package.
Yeah.
It's for a specific programs.
Maybe a question. How does trace work with flatpaks?
ABRT actually doesn't right now support Flatpaks, so
Is there any plan to support?
yes, we have plans to.
Yeah, I think Ernesto has done
Yeah.
the investigation, spent some time on that. On our blog, we have, can you open our blog? There's some entry about Flatpaks, and we end up like reporting 4-6 issue against Flatpaks, which needs to be resolved in Flatpak first. So if you want to read more about it, you can hear. So there are some technical issues blocking the road.
I'm curious how you can get debug info for a flatpak.
No, you can't.
Yeah, that's one of the issues that we are trying to.
So
Come on.
what is the plan if there is any how to do this, because Webpack seems to be like gaining momentum and future of workstation with Ubuntu.
No, we didn't figure this out yet. We have plans how to, or there was some investigation by Ernestas how to catch these crashes, but proceeding with the debug info, that's another issue, and we didn't touch that yet. So in the future,
It was not priority for us yet. No one pushed it really hard. We actually work on containers. So for example, in OpenShift, we are able to gather crashes from initially just from Python and Cordons. If your application is running in container and there is no ABRT, if you have just install package container exception logger, which is very thin, it's like 2 kilobytes or something like that. It will get your traceback out of the container into the host, and we are able to show it in somewhere in OpenShift. Right now in Kibana, so not nicely for you human, but we will work on OpenShift console to show it someone nicely that your container is crashing, because in OpenShift you don't need to even notice it, because OpenShift is so smart that your application crash, detects it crash, kill the bot, and spin another one, so it's transparent for you. But if it happens 5 times during 1 minute, you may start getting problems. So we would like to show some nice icon in OpenShift dashboard, like showing, okay, this container is crashing quite a lot. So you may investigate it and check the logs.
I have a very pragmatic question. How do I get notified on problems in FUB?
Actually, you can turn on the notification if you go to the.
Yeah, but I'm not. It's a special issue because the package is from RPM Fusion, so
Yeah,
it's not listed as my Fedora package. So how do I get subscribed to those emails?
I don't think we. Accept packages from RPM Fusion.
I see it in the FUB. There
Really?
are reports, so I just thought that I know it's a special case.
So can I subscribe to some component?
No, it's well we pull the information from Fedora project and from the PDC, and it assigns you, if you are the maintainer, it assigns you to that component, so you can do these different like associating or archiving reports. And
Yeah, but the packages that are not in Fedora, you cannot do it.
yeah, you can't.
But you should still receive the Fedora messages or Fedora messages notifications.
But I need to subscribe just to that one specific package. I don't want to receive. I mean, there's no option to just say, okay, I want to see all the problems related to that package. Or at least I don't know how to.
So you can set up some client which consume Fedora messages,
Oh,
parse
okay.
it, and say if it is
I see,
if the
I
package
understand.
is some, just do something, but you have to run it on your.
Yes.
No, but actually you can do this. There's this IRC notifier that you can configure somewhere, and then you can filter. It's actually should be only possible right now.
Okay, it's a matter of Fedora notification. Or Fedora
Yes,
messages.
I understand.
I used to use Fantasy the Watch, but I'm not sure if it still works. So I'm not using it anymore.
So what is the status of mock support? It's like there and not maintained anymore, or
What do you mean by mock support?
there used to be the guard was able to detect crashes in mock environment and report them, but I think it's like long abandoned or unmaintained, so I'm not sure.
Honestly, I have no idea. Martin, do you have idea?
Because I think I'm sometimes receiving notifications about crashes during builds of Ruby inside mock, but then I'm not able to report them, I guess, because there are some mismatch in paths and so on.
Yeah, no idea, but yeah, I think I heard some people suggesting that, because actually crashing and catching the problems during the building in Koji or in Copper is actually a great idea. We want to get these reports, but yeah, the mock path is special, so I'm afraid there will be some work to do. Just making notes and those.
And what is the chances if I cannot report
Yeah, no, sorry, because I can actually show you. We have like hundreds of them, and going through them.
The
So is this
infrastructure is there,
Yeah,
but actually no one is checking it.
So if I knock on your shoulder and ask you to check something, then you probably might do it, right?
Right now, yes, but actually, in past week or two, we discussed that we will probably wipe this feature away because no one uses it. Like
You are not using it.
we are not
ABRT
using it.
members.
Others are not able to because that's just for the admins. So I don't know what to do with this feature. Just consume storage is for nothing. So either we should come with some idea here, like to expose it to users. Again, but issue with privacy here. We will probably wipe it away.
Oh, but maybe if it was publicly available to somebody, then maybe community could help analyze such cases. But yeah.
well, the problem is that well, it can contain the core dump with sensitive information.
Still, you have to decide to upload the data. So if you
Yeah.
decide to upload the data, you are probably or you should be aware of consequences.
Yeah, but I already saw Bugzilla reports with passwords to Bugzilla, and
Yeah, and when you are uploading this actual state, if something, if you think this is bug in our tooling, you can upload it here, and admins will check it, and we will keep it private. No one else will read it. But the admins are not reading it actually because we don't have time for that. Like investigate those issues. So we either have to change the wording and involve the community to handle this. I'm not sure if you will be able to participate on that.
Probably not. Just for my cases.
Yeah, exactly.
But that could probably that could help, like if there are some issues uploading the kernel tools and so on. So it seems like that it should be helpful to upload at least what he has and ask you for support explicitly. Because it's like at least at the moment it's web volume. I cannot access even the
Yeah.
reports I have uploaded, so I cannot refer.
Yeah,
To
like
go
the
get-
collect, they never get back.
and also there's still option for the user to just file to Bugzilla and do this manually. But yeah, that's why we have the ABRT to send the report.
Actually, how helpful is the local retracing? Is anybody using it? Because if I cannot use the retrace server to obtain the backtrace, I'm never going to install the debug infos and retrace locally. I just wonder what's the experience of others.
Well, I know some people who don't send the core dumps to the retrace server and use the retracing on their systems. But there are some issues with that as well, because sometimes some of the debug infos might be still missing.
So maybe a question, this is related but not I get a core file,
Mhm.
I think that it includes the built-in file symlink, so it should be possible to figure out the RPM name from the core file always. But I had trouble doing that, and because sometimes people send me core files and I need to figure out the version of the code. And do you have some advice on how this can be done? Whether it can always be done or not?
I don't think, or I don't.
But it sounds like good idea for general like tool, like not directly to ABRT, but like people try put the ID there and will print you like the same in the error.
But the build ID is somehow embedded in the core file, don't you know? Yes?
Yeah.
And how can I extract it? Maybe use have some command to
Mm.
I don't know. You might think okay, I think it's probably everything, so
Thank you for everyone for coming.
I
hoped-
already left, so
I hoped you learned
Okay,
something new.
thank you.